Hi everyone, this is Sonia Lal. Welcome to the interview series, Your Child's Best Future. How to get your child into a top college and set for a happy, successful life. We're doing this interview series to learn from experts who can bring clarity to the college admissions process for high school students and their parents. Today we're excited to have Beth Kaczorowski with us. Beth is the Vice President for Marketing Enrollment at St. Louis College of Pharmacy. She is responsible for the college's strategic marketing plan, including thought leadership positioning, advertising, social media integration, website, public relations, and internal communications. She's also responsible for the college's enrollment services division, including recruitment, admissions, financial aid, and student records and registration. Previously, she was the Assistant Vice Chancellor for University Relations at Southern Illinois University in Edwardsville. In addition to her successful career in higher education, Beth was chosen among the St. Louis Business Journal's Top 40 Under 40 for the class of 2007, has completed the Coral Women in Leadership Training Program, and actively participates in philanthropy, serving as President of the Board of Directors at Camp on the Sauk and on the Marketing and Strategic Planning Committee for the Lewis and Clark Council, Boy Scouts of America. Thank you so much for joining us, Beth.
Thank you so much for having me, Sonia. It's a pleasure to be here.
You know, you're bringing a very unique perspective since you are with the St. Louis College of Pharmacy, and we are really excited to learn, from you, all your advice for students. And I wanted to start with how students should begin to select colleges to apply to, including, how to narrow down their field of study and those kinds of things. Do you have any advice for us on that?
I do. Particularly starting in your freshman and sophomore years in high school, I would recommend really starting to investigate what you're interested in, what you like to do, what types of courses you've particularly been engaged with, and exploring various interests in that manner. By your junior year, you really should start to narrow your search down to 5 to 7 schools and visit them or have a conversation with their admissions team. And certainly your senior year is the time that you're going to complete your applications and focus on a decision. And it's important for us, particularly at St. Louis College of Pharmacy, that we work with students early in their high school career to determine whether a career in pharmacy is the right fit for them. For example, if students particularly like science and math classes, particularly chemistry classes, they will probably be successful in a pharmacy program. And students can start at St. Louis College of Pharmacy as freshmen straight out of high school, and we offer a direct entry program into the Doctor of Pharmacy program here, as well as an integrated bachelor's degree throughout your tenure here if you start with us as a freshman. I would say it's also advantageous to talk with your family members, your neighbors, your friends, and find out what types of careers they're involved in. Maybe shadow their job for a few hours a day. That certainly can help you narrow down the scope. But if you are particularly good or really like math and science, I certainly could recommend considering a career in pharmacy.
Great. And tell us a little bit more, since we're talking about pharmacy now, tell us a little bit more about what job opportunities there are and how long it takes to get a degree and those kinds of things.
Sure. If you start with us as a freshman out of high school, you could complete your bachelor's degree and Doctor of Pharmacy program generally in about 7 years. Some students who come in with advanced placement credit with us have been able to complete their undergraduate portion of the curriculum in 2 years, but the professional program portion is 4 years in length. So when you graduate, you will have a Bachelor of Science and a Doctor of Pharmacy with us, and your career options are virtually limitless. There's so much more involved in pharmacy than probably what most people understand. It's no longer just, the community pharmacy on the corner helping fill your prescriptions, though that is a big field and certainly a good opportunity from a job perspective. Pharmacists are no longer just filling prescriptions. They're interacting with their patients. They're providing, patient care advice to their patients and working closely with their doctors in community settings. But they're also working in pharmacies, going on rounds with doctors and nurses and other healthcare professionals, serving on interprofessional patient care teams and providing critical patient care. I think that, students really need to take a look at pharmacy because there is so many different options than what most people are used to, that it's a really great career option. Our students, traditionally, our average starting salary for students generally in the St. Louis area, though we attract from across the country, has been about $120,000 a year. And I will say, equally attractive to that is our students come out on average lower loan debt than most students coming out with a Doctor of Pharmacy degree. So it's an added benefit when it comes to your career choice.
Wonderful, wonderful. So tell us a little bit about how you read an application and what you're looking for when a student applies to your college.
I'm sorry, how would we read an application?
Yeah, what are you looking for, in the application? And what, are there certain test scores or essays and those kind of things?
Absolutely. We are looking at your ACT or SAT scores and the sub-scores on there. We require letters of recommendation from a science teacher as well as your high school guidance counselor. We may request other recommendations depending on your application. We're also looking at an essay that you write for us that covers a variety of topics that we're interested in knowing a little more about you. We're looking for your high school GPA, particularly how you performed in math and science courses. And generally, we require you to complete 3 years of high school science, including both biology and chemistry, 4 years of high school math, and 4 years of high school English. And then beyond that, we do take a holistic approach to reviewing our applications, but those are some of the key indicators and factors that we look for.
Okay. And are there certain cutoffs that you have for, test scores and so forth?
We don't have necessarily a hard cutoff. I will tell you that our average ACT score has been consistently at 27 over the last few years. That's a composite ACT score. And our average GPA has been 3.6. But since we do take a holistic review approach to our applications and do look more beyond just the test scores and the numbers, I will say that there isn't necessarily a cutoff. However, we are a very intense math and science program, so students need to have done well in math and science courses in high school and be prepared for a rigorous curriculum here.
Okay, and especially for students who are applying to the direct program, the 7-year program, I assume that they have to show that they have an interest in pharmacy, that they have an understanding of the field, and so forth.
Yes, their essay does cover why they would like to be a pharmacist, including ways in their life that they have overcome adversity as well. So we get a taste for how well they know the field of pharmacy, why they're interested in becoming a pharmacist, and how in the past they've dealt with situations that they found themselves in that were difficult to overcome.
Okay. I know, with some of the accelerated medical programs, they always require or want to see students who have spent time in hospitals. Is it similar for your program that you're looking for students who have shadowed a pharmacist or spent time in a hospital or anything like that?
It is not a requirement before they start our program, but what I will tell you is that spending some time shadowing a pharmacist or in a hospital setting or other pharmacy settings will certainly help the student solidify that it's the right career choice for them, but it is not a requirement for admission.
Okay, great. So tell us a little bit about how students can visit colleges when they're on the college search. Beth, is there a way to plan for a college visit that you feel is useful?
Yes, I would say do your research before you visit the campus. Colleges have a lot of information on their website, so you can get a real good feel for what it might be like to be on campus before you get there, and also formulate some really good questions to ask. Sometimes it can be overwhelming when you arrive on campus for the first time, that I want to make sure that you don't forget some of those key questions that you really were tossing through your mind as you were doing your research. I would say that it's very important that you you get a sense for what it's like to be a student there, and that's going to be more than just reading through the admissions materials. You need to take a tour of the building, see what it's like to be inside of a classroom. In fact, I would suggest that you ask to sit in on a classroom if that's possible so that you can see what it's like to be a student. I would suggest making sure you do get the official tour, because even if you walk yourself around, you're not going to see some of the unique, interesting angles and the insides and corners of some of the buildings that you're really going to get a good look at when you go on a tour, particularly with a student ambassador who is a current student there. I would suggest that you ask things about, what are new and unique things that are happening at the school, both in the curriculum and outside of the classroom. So, for example, at St. Louis College of Pharmacy, we've just completed $110 million worth of construction. We have a brand new academic and research building and library for our pharmacy students. And there's really some neat features of this building that we want to make sure students can see what it's like when you're going to be in the classroom and how that technology is going to enhance your learning experience. We're also building a recreation and student center and our second residence hall. So state-of-the-art facilities for student support, a new cafeteria, brand new dormitory facilities, and a brand new gymnasium both for our intercollegiate athletics programs as well as our intramural programs. I'll say most people are surprised to find out that we are an NAIA Division I athletics program here as well, because we do have such a robust undergraduate program here. So students can play intercollegiate sports from basketball to volleyball to soccer, running cross country and track. So there's a lot of things that you can do here. I think the more you're able to explore that while you're on the campus and really make sure that it's the right fit for you, the better your college decision will be. I would also say to investigate what type of setting is best for you for a college campus. Are you looking for a more rural or a more urban setting? For example, St. Louis College of Pharmacy is in the heart of St. Louis, and we're right in the center of one of the world's finest biomedical patient care centers, the Washington University Medical Center. So the physical proximity to places like that allow us to make great partnerships with patient care teams and medical centers and have clinical rotation opportunities for our students. So you need to determine what type of environment you're looking for and make sure that's going to fit your needs as you prepare for your career.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, you did say it would be good to sit in on classes, so I assume that summer is not the most ideal time to visit a college.
I would say if you have the opportunity to visit during the school year, that would be better, because I know it's really important for students today to see if they fit with that school, if they feel like they belong there, and to really get a feel for what it's like, it would be nice to be able to see students in classes and on campus. Now, I will tell you that it's certainly not for us. We don't close down in the summer. We have summer classes going on. We have summer programming happening here on campus. So there are still opportunities over the summer that you could see some of those things. It's just not going to be as robust if you went in the fall. I would recommend, if you have the time at in your junior year, maybe in the spring, to spend some time going on college visits, because then you can spend your senior year focusing on the applications and making sure you're a competitive candidate, or finishing up some visits if you didn't get them done in your junior year.
Okay, that makes sense. And when you do visit a college, is there anyone in particular that you should try to meet, or just taking the tour, like you said, is sufficient?
Yes, I would spend some time with an admissions officer to make sure that you know exactly what you need to do to prepare the best application you can. Certainly, I know it's very important to most families, if not all, working with financial aid to make sure that you can find an affordable option for you for college. So it's important to begin that conversation very early with the financial aid office. I would say if you're, sit in on a class if you can, and maybe even ask to talk to some professors. Our admissions team here is ready to connect you with either the professors you're going to work with in your undergraduate program, or even some of the faculty members in the School of Pharmacy that you might do a clinical rotation with. We can make those connections for you so you can get a sense through their eyes, what a wonderful academic experience they're going to have here.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Excellent. Now, you did say that you should try to meet with an admissions officer, and sometimes that involves an interview. When you're visiting a college, there's the opportunity for an interview. Is that something students should take advantage of?
I think anytime you can conduct an interview while you're on campus, if you're prepared. If it's, early in your high school year and you don't feel like it's maybe the right time to do your official interview, that's certainly fine on a junior visit. That's not expected. But if you're prepared and it's a requirement for the college you're looking at, then I would say go ahead and do it. St. Louis College of Pharmacy, an interview is not required at the freshman level. If you do apply directly into our professional program, we do require an interview. Those can be conducted on campus, or we can arrange for a Skype interview if travel is difficult with a faculty member.
Okay, wonderful. And those interviews that you have for the accelerated program, are they just one interview or many interviews? How does that work?
The interview that we conduct is when you're applying directly into the first professional year, so not in the undergraduate program. And it is, right now it's 2 interviews with 2 different faculty members, and they're about a half an hour in length each.
And you're just trying to get to know the student a little bit better during those interviews?
Yes, to find out, why they want to become a pharmacist, what do they really understand the field of pharmacy and the potential and the commitment to patient care that comes along with being a pharmacist, how you really can make a difference in patients' lives and the variety of patient care settings that you can work in. It doesn't mean you have to be extremely well-versed in the field itself. However, do you have an idea of what you're looking to get into and what a difference you can make in your patients' lives?
Okay. And how does a student prepare for an interview?
Well, I would say that the more that they can know about the institution that they're interviewing with, the better, because the person you're interviewing with certainly wants to know that you've done your homework before you get there. Be able to succinctly say why you want to go to that institution. It's easy to come up with a canned answer for why you might want to enter the field of pharmacy, but why do you want to study pharmacy at St. Louis College of Pharmacy? What about our setting and our relationships and our history is attractive to you as a student? I would keep it conversational because they also want to know that you're human. You don't have to just spout out the perfect, right technical answers, but they want to know that you're going to have a warm, friendly demeanor because you will be interacting with patients. We want to know that you care about others and you want to make a difference in a patient care setting. You want to know that you have a variety of options available to you when you graduate, as the job market is growing. So being open to considering other possibilities within pharmacy and just becoming a lifelong learner. I think if you can demonstrate those things, that you're interested in being a lifelong learner, you're interested in patient care, you're very interested in the school, and you've prepared yourself academically, the interview should go quite well.
Okay. Well, one of the questions I often get, students that I work with, they often wonder, how do you actually learn about a school in detail? Because, there's a lot of information on websites, but also after a while they all sound the same. And so is there a better way to get information about a college than just the website?
Yes, I will tell you that you should find out what other students have come to this school, particularly St. Louis College of Pharmacy, from your area or from your high school, because one of the best ways you can find out what it's like to go to school there is to talk to either a current student or even an alumnus of the program. Maybe there's somebody in your community that you can talk to who is a practicing pharmacist that can let you know what it was like when they were there. I will tell you that current students also talk about their experiences online, so you can find a lot of stories from current students talking about the types of things that they're involved with and how they feel about their experience here. So you can get a lot more information than just the school's website, which, to your point, do begin to sound very similar. I think the more you can ask people what they think about the institution, what is the reputation? I often tell students to ask their pharmacist where they went to school if they're interested in going to pharmacy and what they liked about their school. So the more people you can talk to get that complete picture to round out what you learn on the college's website or from the admissions office, I think the easier it will be to make your decision.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. If a student is interested in your school but they don't know anyone, who's been to your school, do you provide any connections with alumni or anything?
We absolutely can. In fact, we've had students call and ask us if we could connect them with a pharmacist so that they could job shadow because they don't know anybody in their life who is currently a practicing pharmacist. And we have a huge growing alumni network across the country that would be more than happy to, work with a student and let them see what their profession is like and help them, understand more about the field of pharmacy and how it's growing. So absolutely, you don't have to have a pharmacist in your life. We can make that connection for you. Also, when you take a tour of our campus, you're going to take a tour with a student ambassador. So you'll get to ask those questions of the student, what it's like for their experience here. And we certainly can also make connections for them of other students on campus, maybe who aren't participating in the student ambassador program, or if you're considering being a student athlete while you're here, we can connect you with somebody who is currently a student athlete so you can see what it's really like.
Great. That's very, very helpful. Another question that often comes up, we just talked about college visits in detail in interviews and so forth. Another thing that students often wonder about are college fairs, because those are events where hundreds of different colleges are gathered at the same time, and there are representatives there that students can talk to, and it can become very overwhelming. And what is your advice about how to best prepare and make use of these college fairs?
You're absolutely right. Some of the national fairs can be extremely large and impossible for anybody to get through the entire thing. I would make a game plan before you get there. I would make a list of the schools you absolutely want to make sure that you go and talk to. Make sure you hit those first. And then I would look at what types of fields are you interested in, and do any of the other schools that are attending stand out to you as something you might want to investigate. I will tell you that college fairs are also becoming ways for admissions officers to qualify interest. So it's not just a way for you to show interest in the school. It's a way for, if you've already filled out an information card or requested information from a school, it's a way that they can get to know you a little bit better. So if you are interested, even if you have already received the printed materials, I would highly recommend going and talking to the person, because they'll understand then that you really are interested. It lets them know that you didn't just fill out a card. You truly were interested in the program. So I would highly recommend talking certainly to those schools that you were interested in. I would say keep an open mind. There's a lot of things that might strike you as you're walking through. After you've taken care of the must-see list, then I would just spend some time walking around, gathering information. Be open-minded. You never know what you might come across. I would say when you have an opportunity to talk to somebody from the school, I would ask them specifically what makes their program different, what sets them apart from their competitors. Why should you as a student be looking at that particular program? Have them do some of your work for you and how you figure out how to evaluate these schools against the competition. For example, we have revised our professional curriculum to meet our accreditors' new standards that came out just this year in 2016. And I'll tell you, we're ahead of most pharmacy schools in the country because we want to be the first people to make sure we're in compliance with these accreditation standards. So those types of conversations can occur when you talk to a recruiter that you might not necessarily find out on a website or read in a view book that you get. That level of detail about the school's commitment to remaining at the forefront of their profession are types of things you can learn in those conversations.
Yeah, that is true. That is true, because otherwise it's hard to get that kind of information.
Yes.
And you mentioned that the admissions representatives at college fairs actually find that when a student visits them and talks to them, that is a sign of their interest. So is that something that they consider as demonstrated interest?
Yes, absolutely it does. And I will tell you that when our admissions officers go to college fairs, they have a list of students who have inquired about our program from that school, and they're looking to connect with them at those college fairs. So you might even get an email from our admissions officer before the college fair saying, I'd really love to talk with you. Don't forget to stop by our booth. So we're actively seeking to get to know students better at those college fairs who have expressed interest, and it will qualify it will qualify their interest for us. It will indicate that they are. I'm not suggesting that if you don't make it to the table, it's going to say you're not interested. That's not the case, but it just is one more way that you're able to show the school that you're truly interested.
Okay, so it's an important thing. It's not like it probably doesn't carry the same weight as an interview, but it still has some weight.
Yeah, it is nowhere near the weight of an interview. It's a good idea to make sure that the school understands that you're interested.
Is it similar when a student visits a college, that's a sign of interest that's taken into consideration as well?
Absolutely, and even more so than just interacting with the admissions officer at the college fair. I know families are very busy, so if they take the time out of their busy schedule to come and look at the campus, I know they have made an intentional decision to come and take a look at our campus that tells me that they definitely are interested.
Okay, good. And I know that some colleges do take demonstrated interest into account and others don't, but it sounds like you guys definitely do take that into account.
Not in the admission decision itself. We will make the decision based on your academic qualifications, community service, leadership activities. So not making a campus visit is not going to harm your application in any way, because I also understand students, come from long distances, and that just might not be an option to visit financially. So to me, it just tells me that we need to make sure that we're staying in contact with you because we know you're interested. So no, the campus visit doesn't necessarily factor into the admission decision.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Can you tell us a little bit, because you have a background in this, about how you evaluate financial aid and scholarship, decisions, how you make those decisions, and how you evaluate applications and so forth?
Absolutely. It is very difficult. There's so much information coming at you when you're going through this process. So I always encourage families to spend as much time as they need looking at the financial aid package that they receive from each school, spending time talking to the financial aid office if needed. I think a good question, for students to ask is how much time is available for that financial aid office and the team that works in that aid office to spend with them. At St. Louis College of Pharmacy, we make ourselves available to sit down and meet with all of our families, both new students and continuing students, to make sure that they really understand all of the costs associated with going to school here, as well as all of their financial aid options. That's very important to us, and I know that's not the experience that you're going to get at every school. There is no such thing to us as a cookie-cutter financial aid package. Every family situation is unique. Every student situation is unique. So there's a lot of options of scholarships, grants, work study, federal aid. All of those are available to students, and ask as many questions as you need to help you understand the process and what's available to you. I would try as hard as possible to make apples and apples comparisons to schools so that you know the true cost of attendance as well as what scholarships are available to you, both merit and need-based, so that as a family you can make the right choice for you of what you're able to afford and get a good value for your education.
Okay. I'm wondering, in terms of scholarships, what is the best advice you have on how students can apply for scholarships? Because there's so many different websites out there. Do you recommend that students look for outside scholarships?
I absolutely do. I don't think there's such a thing as applying for too many scholarships, because the more you can do to help finance your education, certainly through scholarships, the better. I think starting the conversation with the financial aid office, at the school you're considering, and asking if they're aware of any particular outside scholarships, and then doing your homework online, spend some time researching, ask family members where they've received scholarships from. There's all kinds of scholarships out there. I even remember when I applied to college, I applied for a scholarship for women who were over 5'10". So there's a scholarship for tall girls. You name it, you can find it out there. And you just need to spend some time doing your research and pay very close attention to deadlines, because they vary greatly. So when you're doing your research for your school, the application deadline can often differ from the scholarship application deadline. Now, in our case, your application for admission serves as your scholarship application, so they're the same, but you really need to make sure that you are aware of all your deadlines.
Okay, so you're saying that there are scholarship deadlines at some colleges that are different from the application deadline, and then on top of that, there are outside scholarships that also have different deadlines.
Yes, so you just need to stay on top of those deadlines. And sometimes the really competitive scholarships at schools, the deadline for application for submitting your admission application is earlier than the regular deadline. So you just need to pay close attention and make sure that you're not missing any deadlines.
Okay, yeah, that's important. One of the questions I had for you is in terms of applying for scholarships, when do these deadlines start to appear? Is it September of senior year or end of senior year, or just a wide range?
I would say make sure that you're paying attention to early in the fall when deadlines might start. But what I've seen generally, things really start around kind of mid-fall, October, November, December timeframe. That doesn't mean that you're not going to find one that has a deadline earlier, but generally they're in that mid to late fall range of your senior year.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a lot for students to keep track of, definitely. Are there any particular scholarships, websites, or anything like that that you recommend students go to, or do you just have them Google around on the web?
Gosh, there's so many options and so many different types of things available. I think the student's best bet is to spend some time online searching and putting in the various characteristics of themselves that they think will set them apart. You know, are you an athlete? Are you an honors scholar? Do you have community service available? Using those types of search terms in your search will help you narrow down ones that you're going to be qualified for as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely a lot of work. One of the things that I've heard, and maybe you can clarify that, is let's say a student gets a $1,000 scholarship from, I don't know, the Boys and Girls Club or something like that. And then they apply, to your school, they get admitted, they have a financial aid letter from your school. Would that $1,000 then go towards offsetting the amount of financial aid that your college gives?
So if I'm understanding your question correctly, is how does that factor into the aid package you've received from the college and what goes towards what portion of your bill? When you're awarded, and always read the fine print, certainly, whenever you apply for anything, but at St. Louis College of Pharmacy, when you are awarded an academic scholarship, you have, certain GPA renewability requirements once you get to campus, but if you then come to us and say, I've gotten this $1,000 scholarship, for example, from Boys and Girls Club, that does not decrease the award that you've received, the merit-based award you've received from us. And then it's up to the student to decide whether they want to reduce the amount that they're borrowing if that outside scholarship has helped. Those are choices that the student needs to make. But definitely, ask those questions, when you're talking to the financial aid office to make sure that that's the case at your school. But here, that would not reduce the merit-based scholarship that you've received from us.
Oh, okay. That's wonderful. Yeah, because I know some schools do reduce the amount of aid, and so then I've heard some people say, well, don't bother with scholarships. So I guess it just depends on each particular school, basically.
It does, and it can reduce the amount of money that you need to take out in student loans, certainly. So I would not, don't let that stop you from applying for as many scholarships as you can.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah, sometimes it's so confusing because you just hear different pieces of advice about scholarships and so forth. So it's good to get that understanding that it really does depend on each school. And so I think that's what makes the college admissions process very complex, is that each school has its own rules and guidelines and admissions process and so forth. So, yeah. I
think that would also, make it important that that the college's financial aid office is willing to spend that time with you. As I mentioned earlier, it's important to us for our staff to be available to help families think through these things and not just interact with a person, via email or through whatever system is available. If you need to spend some time talking to people, they should be available for you.
Right. Definitely. Well, thank you so much, Beth. It's been wonderful to hear directly from you, because you have all this experience in higher education. And we really, really appreciate your time, and we look forward to talking with you again in the future.
Thank you, Sonia. I appreciate being a part of this process, and I think if I could say one last thing to anybody is, really explore career options that you might not have thought of. For example, pharmacy might not be something you've thought of, but take the time to investigate to see what it might work out for you.
Great. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.